Welcome to Katie Bird's Nest. I'm Kate. This is the Artist Way check-in for week 5. We are in recovering a sense of possibility. So I did my morning pages every day, and I discovered that it takes about a page and a half before I really kind of get rolling into the really good deep stuff into the morning pages. And I don't know, sometimes I start off and I'm like, ugh, I'm awake, here I am, I'm writing, my head hurts, I have a migraine, I'm level 2 pain, hopefully it'll go away. You know, they kind of start out kind of whiny in the morning, and oh, I'm eating cereal, I brushed the cat today, it's raining outside, blah blah blah, and the first page and a half is just kind of me complaining and saying whatever comes to mind, and then after about a page and a half, I kind of dig into whatever it is I'm really there to talk about in the morning pages. Something that upset me the other day, or whatever's really on my mind. And then by the time I get to about 75% of the way through the third page, it's kind of wrapping up. I've kind of the catharsis of the morning pages is kind of kicked in, and I've kind of blurted out whatever I've needed to blurt out in that last page and a half, and by the end of the third page it's sort of wrapped up, and I'm like, okay, I've dealt with a thing and I've gotten it out there, and I have an idea of how to move forward on whatever that thing was, and I feel better. I'm glad I did my morning pages today, and I'm ready to move on and start my day. And I do a fourth page, I do the affirmations, I'm still doing those. I'm not really working on my handwriting when I do those, I'm just sort of scribbling them out really fast and trying to get my 5 lines in for 3 separate affirmations. And that's going well, and I do think it is beneficial to continue doing the affirmations, so I will continue to do those into week 6. I might change some of the 3 that I'm doing. Might change those up every week, I think, but I will continue to do a 4th page of affirmations. So for the check-in, number 2, I sort of did an artist date this week. I was going to listen to a podcast, and the podcasts are usually 45 minutes to an hour long, and the artist date is supposed to be 2 hours. So I plan to go shopping and kind of poke around a Hobby Lobby or a Michael's and kind of humdrum around a store, and I ended up not doing that. I ended up not going to the store. I was going to do a return, and then I forgot to bring the return item with me, and so I was like, oh, going to the store is kind of worthless now, so I didn't go. And I started listening to the podcast in my car because it wasn't too bad outside for the weather, so I sat in my car and started listening to the podcast, and 20 minutes in, I was like, I don't really like this podcast. I don't really want to listen to this anymore. And so I stopped listening to the podcast 20 minutes in, and it wasn't really a very good artist date. I stopped after 20 minutes, and I didn't really finish it. So I sort of got shortchanged on my artist date. I want to do the mini one-day vacation. In week 4, there was exercise number 7. You were supposed to plan a one-day mini vacation artist date, and I did. I did that exercise, and I want to take that mini vacation, and I think I'm going to do that next week. Get a full day artist date and kind of make up for not really getting one this week, and for last week I didn't really get a very good one the last week, so I piggybacked it on other things. So I feel like I need a full day artist date to sort of make up and give my artist child a full day of attention. So number 3 for the check-in is synchronicity. And I had been I've been musing to my husband about how wouldn't it be nice to carry on the tradition of my grandmother's Afghans. She made Afghans, and I believe she crocheted her Afghans, but I ended up for Christmas getting a gift card to Michael's from my mother-in-law, and I was like, oh, I could go to Michael's and get something with this. Maybe I could get a How to Make Afghans book or something. And then I checked my phone, and I'd gotten in a weekly store email from Michael's, the actual store I had the gift card from, and there was a yarn sale, and there was how to make hand warmers, and I was like, oh, I love hand warmers. I'm always so cold. Wouldn't that be the perfect starter project? Learn how to make hand warmers, and then I can kind of progress into making an Afghan, this giant blanket. And so I went to Michael's with my gift card and with the little weekly ad, and I bought two I don't know what they're called, two little bundles of yarn on sale, and then I bought a how to knit kit, and I got the 40% or 50% off coupon from the weekly ad for the kit, and then I used my gift card to buy it all. And so I thought that was very, serendipity, very synchronicity for me to have been talking about that, and then just boom, 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 all of it fell into place within 2 days after just musing and mentioning how it would be nice to carry on the tradition of making Afghans like my grandma had. Number 4 is there anything else during the week that you want to mention? And so there was a part in the book that talked in the chapter that talked about it was freed from our terrible fears of abandonment and freed from our constant demands for more and more reassurance. And that was two kind of sentences that really spoke to me. And I think for me, those two things are part of me being occasionally stuck in the virtue trap. The virtue trap was one of the things in the chapter. And the fact that I'm not free from feeling abandoned, and I'm not free from, what was the other one? From the constant need of feeling I need to be reassured. I do feel like I have a sense of abandonment sometimes, and I do feel like I need to be reassured at other times. And I do feel like I am self-destructive. That was in the chapter as well. So that was a takeaway for me, was the feeling like being freed from abandonment and freed from the need of reassurance. I'm working on it. I'm getting there. I'm feeling less and less abandoned and more able to rely on the creator and the source of my creativity, and less on other people around me and needing reassurance from other people. I'm able to be reassured by the creator inside. And it's reassuring. It's refreshing to feel that I can validate myself, and yeah, it's nice. So there were some things in the book that I wanted to read off and share as well. This chapter was about limits and finding the river, the virtue trap quiz, and the forbidden joys and exercise. There was also wish list and exercise. There was examining your payoffs and remaining stuck. Now, for me, my examining my payoffs and the payoffs of remaining stuck, for me, remaining stuck, the payoff is that I don't have to confront failure or confront success. And that was kind of a big thing to examine for me in this chapter. The idea that I don't have to deal with if I'm able to handle success by remaining stuck. And I don't have to deal with handling failure by remaining stuck either. I can remain stuck and not have to deal with either scenario. And I don't want to remain stuck. I want to deal with the future. I want to move forward. I want to be unstuck. I want to finish my book. And I want to deal with whether it's not good enough and then fix it, or whether it succeeds and then I want to be a success and write book 2. I want to move forward. And it was interesting journaling and examining that fear of failure and that fear of success. The other part in this chapter was exploring the limitations you place on yourself. So the kitty's leaving. A few of the pieces of the chapter that stood out to me that I wanted to share with you were, most of us never consider how powerful the Creator really is. We are stingy with ourselves. And that really stood out to me because there are exercises in the end of the chapter that talk about, that kind of bring to light ways that you are stingy with yourself. And going through the exercises at the end is very helpful, and I think you should, if you're going along and you're doing the book in chapter 5, really, really sit down and answer those questions. And they're like, what would I try if it wasn't too crazy to try? What were the 5 things that you would try? And what would I do if it wasn't too selfish to do? What are those 5 things? Those things, I think, really go along with being stingy with yourself. You don't do things because it's too selfish or it's too crazy. The other thing that stood out was, we must learn to let the flow manifest itself where it will, not where we will it. And we must be willing to receive her good from whatever source it appeared in. She stopped being victimized. That was an example in the book. They were talking about a lady that she was willing to receive her good from whatever source it appeared in. She stopped being victimized. And that's the idea that you put your, it kind of goes back to chapter 4 a little bit. You put your prayers out there. You say, this is what I want. I want to be a successful author. But then at the same time, you need to do your part, and then the universe reacts accordingly, and the synchronicity happens, and it comes from wherever it comes from. It doesn't come from where you think it's going to come from, and you have to take it from wherever it appears. And that goes along with, as each idea comes to us, we must in good faith clear away our inner barriers to acting on it, and then on an outer level, take the concrete steps necessary to trigger our I can't say that word. As each idea comes to us, we must in good faith clear away our inner barriers to acting on it, and then, on an outer level, take the concrete steps necessary to trigger our synchronous good. Ask yourself bluntly, what next step are you evading? So that plays back into, it builds on chapter 4 as well. You put things out there in the world that you want, the world reacts, it comes back to you, serendipity, synchronicity, and now it's in your lap. The ball is in your court, your prayers have been answered. I am sitting here, I have a day job that is full-time writing. Now I need to write the book, I need to do the revisions, I need to send out the query letter, I need to, put my work out there, and then once my work is out there, the editors and agents can say, yes, we want your work, or you need some more revisions, and then the process moves forward. But right now the ball is in my court, and I need to do my piece. I need to take the concrete steps necessary to trigger the next piece of synchronicity. So, recovering a sense of possibility, that was a really good title for this chapter. And discovering the limitations that you place on yourself and examining the payoffs for remaining stuck with this chapter there was a lot going on in this week that kind of covered both of those things. So after coming off of reading deprivation, I wasn't really sure what to expect. And this chapter really hit it hard, and I'm looking forward to chapter 6. Chapter 6 is recovering a sense of abundance. So in a way, I feel like chapter 4 set up chapter 5 by kind of clearing the decks with the reading deprivation. And then now chapter 5, we've kind of looked at everything with the limitations, and we're ready to get rid of our limitations and accept the good that is coming to us, all of the good that is coming to us. And now chapter 6, this possibility of abundance. I mean, what is going to happen next week? How much abundance can come into my life? And these 3 chapters are really, we are moving at quite a clip here. I am very excited to have started this 12-week course, and I'm halfway through. Well, I'm starting to be halfway through in chapter 6 next week. So stay with me and thumbs up and subscribe.